Welcome back to a misty morning in Eco. Yes, I'm back in the game, and it's time to take a look at a few other things this episode. So I've got a few stations on build already at our basically carpentry table. At the very bottom here, you'll see Wainwright table and tailoring table. So tailoring, if you have a look in your inventory, you see there is all these clothes, and you get given them by default. If you go into third person, you'll be able to see yourself a little bit more. There you can see there's my particular person, and you can always edit the colors whenever you like just by going into the edit button, and then you can obviously edit yourself however you like. But there are better versions of clothes that you can actually get. I think bigger backpacks and stuff like that. So having those is quite useful in the game. So we definitely want... Oh, I don't want to have that permanently on there. Thank you very much. Don't want third person permanently. Or not sure what you guys think about that anyway, but I don't want the person on permanently. So yes, we probably want a tailoring table just to expand our backpack at least. And wait a second, bison mount recipe? I get to mount bison? I mean, they're not terribly fast, but I would take one of the elk mounts. That would be pretty fast. Although, rabbit mounts? No, let's not go there. Let's not go there. So Wainwright table is the other thing, and that is, again, all to do with... I don't think I've made this yet. It's all basically to do with the sort of roadworks and vehicles and stuff like that. So I want to make sure I have one of each station. Speaking of that, we've also got this Bloomery to go. So I'm just waiting for the sand to complete now, and the boards will complete from this other station once that's done. So everything is now done for the Bloomery. Just waiting for stuff to actually finish and, you know, arrive and stuff like that. I had a cunning idea when I was going mining, and it failed terribly, but I had a cunning idea. I'll tell you what the idea was. I figured I couldn't drag one of those carts down one of these holes. I mean, I probably could, but there's no way I could get it back up again. So to actually move stuff around, I thought, well, you know, you can go in here, and I can see that other wheelbarrow, which is right there from here. So I could move stuff from one wheelbarrow to another wheelbarrow, right? And now it's no longer in this wood cart. So I figured, well, maybe we could just do that down here. If I just put, you know, something along the sides, I could probably have this chain of stuff where I could just easily move whole stacks of rock up here. And that still is actually the case, I'm sure. But even this small distance, like this far, to a cart that you can just see right there at the surface where it would be, is too far. I tried. Yes, I did try. I was hoping that would be a cunning plan. Unfortunately, it's not so cunning a plan. Baldric, it's about as cunning as a non-cunningville. Yes. Anyway, so that one's out. So I decided instead, but maybe we'll just make more of the storage chests and have them further down in the mine, like these, for example. Maybe they'll actually do the job, and we'll just use them as buffers, and then I'll move stuff later. For that, so that's gonna be probably the easiest way to actually go. Storage chest, where are you? Storage chest. We have enough to make at least one, so I'll go and craft one down the very bottom of the mine, and that will hopefully have enough. How much storage space is in these? So it's 4, 8, 12, 16, and so that would be 16, presumably times 20 rock. I have my stockpile outside. That's not showing the other stockpile. What's the stack size? Yeah, it's going to be 20. Okay, so 16 stacks of 20, which is enough for, I want to say, 4 mines? So 4 actual blocks space, basically. So, or is it 5? No, it'd be 5. Okay, so 5 blocks times 16 goes into one chest, basically. So what's that? About 80? I want to say 80 blocks per chest. And you can just store them until you actually need them otherwise. And it takes about 10 logs, so hey, no problem there. I did want to cover some follow-up from last episode. I got a question from a viewer who's saying, you're not appearing to get any XP down here for advanced Campfire. Very eagle-eyed of you. Yes, that's absolutely correct. I think it only actually occurs when you actually use specific recipes. The ones that get unlocked by the advanced Campfire. Yeah, by researching, I should say. So the easiest one to actually get into there, I mean, there's a couple. There's one called Render Fat, which is down here. And you get fat out of raw meat. But we don't have that yet because we don't have Butchery. Butchery, you can take those carcasses we were just directly frying on the campfire before. You can slice them up, obviously, into steaks and other things, and you can make lots of different things. You can also get XP from Fiddlerhead salad, but the ones that's most obvious that we can actually get to first is fried tomatoes, because you also get fat not just from this, basically from rendering it from raw meat, from steaks or whatever. But that'd be a waste, rendering fat from steaks. Prime steak rib, let's just cook it down into fat. Regardless, we do actually get some as a byproduct of this campfire stuff. You'll see here we get from the carcasses, we get not just meat but also fat, and we can use that fat to fry tomatoes in. So we have a bunch of those. So let's just make a bunch of fried tomatoes. Yeah, I mean, they don't look terribly nutritious in terms of actual sort of a food source, but we'll see whether that actually starts giving us some XP. And you can see the amount of XP I've got right now, 0 of 1250, no XP. Let's see what happens once this cooks up. Another thing that's just happened, literally just before I started the episode, is I advanced to level 7 in Survivalist, which is the top level, which is nice. So that has unlocked for me, basically calorie consumption on all kinds of different things is reduced, which is good for cleaning up areas when trees fall and pretty much everything that you do in game, as well as stomach capacity and carry weight. So all of that is good as well. I did see one other really good talent to actually get. If you want to look into Mason and into mining, up here there's this talent choice, and you get two choices here. Okay, it doesn't show you both choices, I already chose one. But basically this one, mining rocks no longer has a chance to create large chunks. Now, if you'd mined before this point, what you notice is most of the time when you break rock, it drops into either 4 equal pieces you can pick up directly, or it drops into 2 small pieces and 1 large piece. And you have to hit the large piece again to be able to pick it up. Of course, if you hit it again, that consumes more calories. So this talent basically says, no, they no longer appear. You always get 4 small pieces. The alternative choice there will be to pick up more than one at once, like in an area loot kind of thing, which also is quite attractive, but I wanted to reduce the calorie spend as much as possible early in the game. You can choose whatever you want as far as that choice, of course. It's entirely up to you. Later on, this will become a lot larger mine, but you can just see now, if I just basically hit these, all of these are actually just going to turn into... Let's try not collapse the mining on top of myself. None of those are going to be anything other than the small pieces. If I just randomly just keep holding, well, not holding E, but tapping E, you'll see it's all green. All can be picked up, assuming that I actually had space in my inventory. And you can see here I've got lots of stuff to actually dump into this stockpile. Is it actually finished? Has that masonry stock finished? It is not finished. Wow, it's got another half an hour to go. That's fine. So we have everything we need for the Bloomery apart from the sand now, which means this station has already finished getting me the other stations. I guess I can get another masonry table down, you know? Get another masonry table, and I could actually basically change the speed of this. Both of these count. Status. Yeah, that's fine. So what if I just basically... can I cancel you? Project cancelled. And then if I do 4 of you there and 4 of you there, once I attach the right storage, this kind of storage attachment system is very nice. You may think it's a bit annoying and a bit troublesome. Trust me, it's just not. You can basically choose exactly what well, you can't explicitly choose the inputs and outputs, but you can basically say, hey, just use just that one specific storage for your recipes, and it makes it much easier not to care about things. Just dump, someone can come along, you can just put up a sign saying, hey, dump all your stuff in this stockpile, and then you can have your stations be pulling from that stockpile. Remember, this game was originally developed to be multiplayer. And I want to say a couple of things about that as well, because I got some questions about whether it's better to do multiplayer, better to do single player. And I did want to cover it because it is very useful to actually discuss. Yep, so that's 2 stations. They're working pretty much now in parallel, and that will basically speed things up by double, essentially. Let me just get these 2 stations first, then we'll talk about multiplayer a little bit. So there's the Wainwright table, and there is the tailoring table. And they may need to go into certain rooms, do they? In a room, 45 meters cubed or cube meters, whichever you want to say. 0.8 tier 1 average room tier, so that needs a high quality room. The only one that's like that right now is the one I'm in because it has a wood floor. If you hover over down here, it tells you exactly what your tier is for each room. So this current tier, this room, is 0.86. All the other rooms are 0.7-ish. So that's what you end up with a 5x5 internal volume room by 3. So 5x5 by 3, so 75 cubed meters. And then with a dirt, with a dirt floor. If you have a wood floor, it goes up 0.1 basically, or just above 0.1. And I will be converting them all to either wood or stone floors at some point soon. Anyway. That needs a highly high quality room. However, this one, the Wainwright table, if I remember rightly. Oh no, that also requires 0.8 tier. Fine. Okay. So let's just grab them and see if they can actually produce anything new for us as they exist. And then obviously I'm going to need to, perhaps do some. Well, I can always pick them up again. That's a good point. I can just reuse the room. Yeah, there's not enough room in here to actually do that. So either I remove this, which is doable because I don't need it yet. Yep. No, that works fine. And you don't pay anything in cost for picking those up other than calories for picking them up, I think. So it's fine for you to move stuff around so you can have a look at the recipes. So here you can see basic backpack. That's the one we already have, I think. Yes, it is. Requires tailoring 1. So all this stuff requires tailoring. There's nothing in here I can do until that's finished. That's fine, but we may well want to get larger backpacks. Lets you carry as much as a bear, not really, but it does help you carry more. Fine. Are they different weights of the backpacks as well? No, they're all the same backpack. And then a big backpack. Bigger backpacks, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay, a bison mount. A fluffy but very dead bison head on a mount. Okay, so I can't mount bison. It's just the poor bison's head on a stick. Okay, but it will get me... It's a decoration, so it will get me more skill points. I guess we'll have to say it's a friendly bison mount. Yeah. I was kind of hoping for... I don't remember there being mounts in the game, but I was kind of hoping for them. Anyway, leave me alone. Same thing with elk and everything else, and a whole bunch of different decorations in here, rugs, etc. that will improve things. One thing to note about that, if you are actually doing this, and let me just put this Wainwright table down, and let's just see if there's anything in there we can do. If not, we can just put them into storage for now. One thing to notice is that whenever you set up a room, whatever you put in it first counts the full value of the decoration. Everything thereafter, this is according to the official wiki, has diminishing returns. So it will probably matter more later once we have higher quality stuff than this straw bed, for instance. We'll want to put down the most... the thing with the most points first, basically, and then put the other stuff in it. And that accounts for everything in a room, apart from lamps, which depends. It's the first lamp counts for full, and then following on lamps apparently count for less and less again, just like diminishing returns. So whenever you're setting up a room, you want the most rewarding stuff first. Okay, so let me just put the tailoring table in storage for now. So we do have it. We just start using it. And the Wainwright table, yeah, there we go. So Wainwright table, yeah, there is stuff we can actually make in here, I assume. Stone ramps, that needs mortar, and we can make that already as campfire. It's a bit expensive, requiring fiber and stuff like that, but we can make stone ramps instead of dirt ramps. Wood cart, is that the small? Must be not a small wood cart. That's a large wood cart. Needs wooden wheels, and wooden wheels we just need basically just hewn logs for. So clearly we can already make a large wood cart there, or at least larger than a small one. And then there's asphalt, iron wheels, powered carts, and yes, that is like a full on engine, basically car, truck. So yeah, we can start off by just hitting logs and get to the internal combustion engine. But that is electric machinist table. I think that's a little bit far in our future. And we obviously need to get into mechanics and stuff like that to get there. However, having various other things like plows, will be actually quite useful for the future. We can't make plows yet though because we need iron bars. Iron tools are going to be the actual the main thing to get next. I'll put that into storage and then we can put our bakery, well, our kiln back, I should say. I keep mistaking it for a bakery oven. They look quite similar in terms of the icons. There we go. Okay, so that one goes into storage and we'll put that one back. Now, talking about multiplayer, I did get a question saying, is it better to play solo or is it better to play multiplayer? Because this is a game that was intended for multiplayer until a lot of people said, we really, really want to play this solo. So at the very start of the game, you get a choice for sort of the number of people who are sort of playing it. It gives you a drop-down box, says 1 to 3, like 4 to 6, etc. And that sort of determines sort of your skill point rate. If you're playing solo, like 1 to 3, like I am, that means you can complete the game solo in the default amount of time, which is 30 days, until, well, you know, the asteroid comes and kills us. On the higher ratings, you want to probably play a multiplayer, i.e. you get lower amounts of skill points, but there's more people. However, what I will say is this, is that's only true if the people you're bringing into multiplayer are going to be around for that period of time. If you selected it to be 60 days long, 30 days long, 15 days long, whatever you actually select it as, I'd suggest you leave it at 30 unless you know what you're doing. If that is something that you know that people are going to give up on, don't select it to be the longest skill point rate, because what may happen is you may end up with people who play for a few days, as you might imagine, don't like it as much as you do, and they leave, and then, well, the meteor's coming in however long it is, and you don't have enough skill points. I suppose you could also change the setting on the server as well to change the skill points, you know, rate back up and stuff like that. But I suggest if it's your first time playing, particularly if you want to play multiplayer, do set it to 1 to 3, i.e. it's soloable, just so everyone can get used to it. And if it's really popular, then you can start some kind of private seasons, just like playing an ARPG like Diablo or something. So yeah, that's just some information, or just some advice for multiplayer. I do like it in multiplayer. What tends to happen in multiplayer is that everyone becomes far more specialized. You get one person who's good at hunting, and one person who's good at mining, another person who does, well, there's all kinds of different jobs that you can end up with, including politics and laws and all kinds of stuff like that you don't see at all in solo play. So, you know, don't misunderstand, it's not always the same game in multiplayer as it is in single player. There is a sort of political and social aspect to it as well that is not worth underestimating. All that I'm doing here is, because I'm playing solo, you will have to see me go through pretty much every skill that's needed to actually complete the game. So in this way, you get an idea of all the skills, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Anyway, I'm off to go and, I don't know, break some more rocks while this thing grinds stuff into sand. It's going to be another, I don't know, 10 minutes for me, 15 minutes or something. See you in a minute. Oh, well, a few seconds for you. I was an idiot. Yep, I forgot that you can't just put rock into a chest. I thought you could, you can't. So nope, that goes away. However, what you can put into them is, well, what you can put rock into is the carts. So the carts, it'll have to be, they're effectively going to be our chests. And we'll pop them right down like that, and then we can move stuff in there. However, they only have 8 slots, at least for the small wood carts. However, that does make it still quite a lot more convenient not to have to run up and down all the time. You can just dump them into basically disposable carts, and if you have enough of them, you can move them up and down the cart chain if you actually want to, or can deal with it. Anyway, a lot easier than actually moving them up and down all over the place. And with that, our bloomery is ready to go. Off that goes. That's going to take 10 minutes to actually make. That's perfectly fine, I think. Oh, hang on. It needs some power, basically logs. And that's okay. We have some logs somewhere. In one of my storage. Yeah, there we go. So let's just, can we just divide that up somehow? Can I split it? Can I split it with control? I can split it with control. Can I split it again? Yeah, and let's just drag that up into fuel. There we go. Dump the rest of it down there. And that's going to basically head off and deal with that. How much is that going to work? 6 minutes 31 remaining. Yes, I may need a few more logs, but that's going to work perfectly fine. Anyway, what was I thinking about? Oh yes, I did also improve the quality of the rooms. You'll see these have got, this isn't an even quadrant anymore, and instead of 40 we now have 45 in terms of the sort of bonus that we actually get to our skill points. So in order to do that, I just put down a couple of chairs. Okay, so I did make some more chairs, and remember that obviously these have diminishing returns, but you can see if I start to give ourselves, I'm not quite sure I'll put a chair right next to the toilets like that, but hey, I guess if it improves quality of the room, well, there's a bit of privacy over there with those long grasses. Yeah, I could come in with a road tool actually and just make sure this didn't grow back. In fact, I have the road tool. Is there actually any benefit to actually using it inside? This is the bathroom. So 2.5, no, it has no benefit whatsoever, other than making sure that the floor is nice and clear of plants. But since we're probably going to be putting stone down at some point anyway, it shouldn't really much matter. It just makes it nice and easy to actually see as I'm actually walking around. Anyway, that's that done. And we've got our bloomery on the go, which means I need to go and keep digging and down in the mine. So I had to have a couple of stockpiles on the go being made, I think. Hopefully there's a stockpile somewhere. Oh, well, sorry, yeah, a stockpile in a stockpile, I should say. That's my tiny stockpile. I thought I had another one on the go. I'm almost sure I did. Stockpile, 10 logs. Yeah, it's got to be somewhere. Anyway, I'll find it, and then we need to put it down somewhere below ground. Ah, there it is. Okay, so it does take up 5 by 5 by 5. I checked, it wasn't 6 or 7. So we are going to need basically a block space of 125 blocks somehow, which of course needs storage for those 125 blocks in some kind of wood cart or something like that in order to get that going. So do bear that in mind when you're actually doing this. But for the time being, that means down here, once we're 15 below ground anywhere, you want a space that doesn't have any dirt in it. It just has rock walls on all sides. I think this counts. We've got some gneiss here. I think it's pronounced gneiss. Anyway, but you want rock walls on all sides because we're going to seal this thing in to reduce its pollution effect. Because we're going to be putting tailings and tailings alone in this stockpile. You could use a small one, but I'd rather have a large one running. And of course, that does mean I need to mine this out. So some of our fried tomatoes have finished, and you can see down here we have got some experience. So if we actually get leveled up a little bit more, we should get some new recipes. So the very, very bottom of here you can see Campfire Roast, and that just needs us to have, well, pretty much needs us to have butchery as well, to be honest. It's a butchery table, at least. I'm not sure if we need it to to access it or just maybe to improve it. So maybe to make a butchery table as well. That's fine. And the skill value is 2. And in a kitchen, of course. So yeah, we can go on and make that. That's a butchery table. And campfire stew and wild stew are level 3. So the only ones we have access to are these fried tomatoes right now. And if we just go to fried tomatoes, you can see, well, that's charred tomatoes. That's a different thing. Let me just grab these and put them next to each other. That is fried tomatoes, right? Yep. So you can see just the improvement from adding a little bit of fat gets us, for some reason, lots of extra carbs and less vitamins, but more protein and fat, and obviously get more calories. But what I just wanted to know is, will it significantly raise this score, the nutrition? So we get a multiplier for it being balanced, and what I'm not sure is if it'll make it better or worse. So I'm actually just going to try one, and my staple at the moment when I'm not making dried tomatoes is the charred corn. What charred corn tends to actually do is just rebalance things a little bit, and it brings everything back around. So if I have a look at charred corn, here we are. So carbs and vitamins, so it increases the carbs, it adds a bit of protein, which is the orange color, and so this one gets larger, this one gets larger-ish, and then this is so what vitamins like half as much as the carbs. So it's bringing everything into a complete quadrant. However, let's try this. Let's see. Other meals have been giving me like +1 to my food score ish, depending on how much I actually do it. So let's try this one. Plus 0.5. Okay, so not quite really as good. It's a decent food. There's lots of good stuff in it. I just don't need it for now. You know, later is fine. And for the time being, I'll continue to use charred corn, and we'll build up that perfect quadrant as much as we can. And as it's coming dawn again, let's head down into the mine and we'll place our bloomery, which is the first route towards iron that we can make in the game. And of course, that will let me repair some of the iron tools I've already been given as part of the skill unlocks. Down here, for example, when you unlock mining, you get an iron pickaxe, but no way to repair it. So right now it's sitting in a chest upstairs and I can't repair it. By the way, if you instantly want to get teleported to the surface, pick up a cart like this. It may end up clipping you into a wall, at which point you get teleported up to the surface. Otherwise, you'd go out through the world. So yeah, that may be one route, I guess, to cheat, sort of. So one other thing I'm going to do here is just place this down. You can see now it's placed on solid fuel. It's going to need some fuel, and looks like we're going to need smelting for all of it. It looks like so. That's going to be my ideal next skill. And I want iron. Iron is the thing I want more than anything else, and that's going to need iron ore, 20 of, to actually get going. So I'm going to need to go and find that. Different ores are found at different points in the world, so, you know, maybe preferential for you to find one or another. However, in here, I'm going to actually put a tiny stockpile rather than the main one. It's easier to actually dig for. And if I put that there, it's down and I can actually then seal this in. I'm not sure if I'm going to need mortared stone to basically seal in on all sides, but that then allows me at least a little amount of space to, in fact, let me just actually be able to link the bloomery to it. Bloomery storage, tiny stockpile, there we go. And it can also link to the wood cart, but that's not terribly useful right now. And that means we can actually get tailings dumped into there, and probably the iron will be dumped into there as well, at least until we have more space available for a fully stone locked basically full size stockpile. That was it, almost ejecting me again. So now we just need smeltery as the actual skill. Let's go and take a look at what that actually needs at the research table. Here we are, smelting skill book. It requires us to find 40 iron ore. It requires us to make 20 mortared stone and 20 hewn logs. Well, we know hewn logs are easy, don't we? Mortared stone, let's just check out that recipe. We should already be able to make it. Yeah, mortared stone. It needs the mortar, which is the kind of expensive thing to make at the moment, and just regular stone. And we can process regular stone with the regular workbench from any kind of stone we actually get. We can just convert it back across. So I can already make 4 of that, and that will be useful, either to seal in that stockpile or to use for this. I'm going to want to use it for this to get started. So that's a fifth of it done, and I just need to now find a source of iron ore. Now, I may have already actually gone through for some of it on the way down. There is a bit of a lighting issue in this game that you can sometimes see. You can see your way down here underground, even when it's daylight. Yeah, so it's not perfect as far as light is concerned, but it does get dark down here at night as well, so I am willing to give it a chance. And what are you, I wonder? Oh, can we actually just see what you are? This stone pickaxe is terrible. Nice. Okay, so same as this. We're looking for iron ore around somewhere, and I may have to go elsewhere. It's currently not being too helpful as far as easy sources of it. So yeah, I need to go and look up how we actually do that. Wow, okay, that's interrupting things. I'm going to want to make more stone blocks there to actually get back up here, or dirt or something. You could put dirt down. That would actually work just as well. Are you copper? You're probably copper, you know. Let's just try it. Copper ore. Yeah, so shame it won't actually accept copper ore as the thing here. Do I have any iron ore picked up? I don't think I do. I just have copper. Nice, yeah, just copper. So between the episodes, I'm clearly going to need to find iron ore. There is a way of finding it, sort of. It's in certain biomes, so basically some biomes you may be better digging in than others. So I need to go and do some research for that. Anyway, the bloomery is up. We just need to get the smeltery skill unlocked, and then we'll be able to get our first iron. We've now got all 4 rooms contributing more, so we're now at 50 housing bonus. And if at any point during the game you'd feel like you have everything handled well enough that you want to unlock further skills, let's just actually go in here for a second. I just want to pick up some corn. Yeah, let's just make sure that rebalances nicely. Yeah, that's coming up to pretty much just exactly how I want. We can, of course, if you're in solo play or if you have the fast forward setting turned on in the multiplayer, you can basically use your bed to sleep. And yeah, you can see there, real time passed. And then it starts passing time. Of course, this means this gauge right here is going to go up. All of your actual stuff is going to bypass. And you press wake up. And you are going to have a better time. However, that does mean all the stuff that you would have done in the meantime doesn't get done. Okay, and the next level up current XP rate is 1 minute 29 seconds. So let's just go to sleep again. We only want a couple of minutes then. So 1, 2, and there we go. We have a new skill point. So yes, you could sleep the night away. In a multiplayer environment, that would basically be done by, it's a permanent server, so it will be advancing even while you're offline. That's an important point. Even though you're very, very specialized, you're rewarded for having a server that's running offline. However, that also means your meteor counter is counting up while you're offline. So I don't think it is in solo, but in multiplayer it definitely will be. So yeah, that's the disadvantage. The timer's always running. Normally you won't get fast forward enabled on a server because the timer's always running. Anyway, that's enough for today. I think we've got quite a bit done. It's been about 25 minutes or so. I'd like to keep them to about half-an-hour episodes. That does mean we will end with definitely iron next episode once I find some of it. That is definitely not iron, that's sandstone. And from there, I can repair my tools and we can get into hopefully some new stuff. And probably I'll finish off the house as well. There's nothing new up here since last episode. I am going to be moving up some of the rooms up here so that I can concentrate. One, they'll be higher quality because they'll have wood floors when I do it. But also, it just means I have more utility rooms downstairs. One other thing, if I didn't mention or already mention it, don't put your bloomery or any other thing marked industrial in one of your rooms. It'll sort of cancel out any effect of any decorations in the room. An industrial item is purely for like an industrial building. And feel free to make more buildings. You don't have to keep it to your initial house, but this is basically your skill point bonus area. You don't want to actually endanger this with other things. While I was off between clips, I think I advanced. Yeah, you can see I advanced here again. So hewing's now 7, self-improvement's now 7. Mining's now 7 as well, and so is self-improvement. If I didn't already mention that, yeah, self-improvement, yeah, mining, hewing, and character XP. I'm also level 7, I guess. So yeah, pretty good. I think we'll see you next episode. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you've got tips or if you're playing along, please put comments down for other people below who may well be waiting for your advice, or at least you can maybe be able to get them faster progression than I will. And if you can see a faster progression for me, well, again, I'll be reading them too. I may be able to respond to all of them, but anything that's interesting, I'll certainly at least give it a thumbs up and we'll see where we go. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for some more Eco.